Edwards still making headlines. Edwards told WSJ when it comes to the Michael Jordan era, they say it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think anybody had skill back then. Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill. This sparked a response from Lakers legend Magic Johnson, who said that he doesn't respond to anybody that hasn't won a championship and hasn't won a championship at the high school level or the college level. Are Magic's comments fair or foul, Stephen A?
They're fair. He's a 5-time champion. Universally recognized as the greatest point guard in the history of basketball. I love Anthony Edwards. He's one of my top 2 favorite players in the game. And I'm praying he wins a championship, because seeing this brother on national TV in the national spotlight is something that is beautiful for basketball fans everywhere. But when you come out with a statement that, you know what, the only skilled player was Michael Jordan, that's flagrantly disrespectful to the old guard. Larry Bird wasn't skilled.
To Magic.
Isaiah Thomas was one of the greatest skilled guards in the history of basketball. Magic Johnson was 6'9", a 6'9" point guard. We had never seen anything like him. And one of the things that I pay attention to, Shannon, is that I'm very apt in bringing up the fact that if it were not for the pioneers, others wouldn't be what they are. There's no way that you didn't mirror your game after somebody when you were en route to a Hall of Fame football career. Before there was Dr. J, there was Connie Hawkins, for crying out loud. Before there was Michael Jordan,
Right.
There was Dr. J. Okay, before there was Vince Carter, there was MJ. Okay, before Kobe Bryant and stuff like that came later. So I look at it from that standpoint, and I'm of the mindset. Wait a minute here. I don't like that. You can't say something like that. But the other thing that I would say is this: understand how profound Magic Johnson's statement was when I was interviewing him at this event last week. What he said also applies to Charles Barkley. It applies to the Patrick Ewings of the world. It applies to Sean Kemp of the world, or Paul, even today, the Paul Georges of the world, the Russell Westbrooks of the world, and the James Hardens of the world, and various others. So Magic didn't sit up there and just say, today's generation. He said anybody who's played but hasn't won a title don't get my attention as to who I was or who anybody was that actually won championships. You know what I'm saying? In terms of measuring our skill level, because he's highlighting there's far more that goes into it than what the human eye just sees on the basketball court.
Stephen A., I've known Magic Johnson 30 years, not as well as you know him.
Right.
I was shocked with the veracity in which he said what he said, because normally Magic is a lot more diplomatic. He's a lot more PC. Yep. Now, behind the scenes, it's a whole different argument. But he's a lot more diplomatic, Steve. Right. He's a lot more diplomatic. For him to take that tone in the harshness in which he said it lets me know he was highly agitated by what Ant said. Now, Stephen A., it's hard for me to sit here, and as we were talking about with D.O. just a minute ago, evolution happens. These guys, they have better training, they have better nutrition, and they have the advent of having saw what those guys did and studied those guys. It's hard for me to believe that the inventions today are not better than some of the inventions we had 30 years ago. That just happens. Do I believe the players as a whole, there are more skilled players that can do multiple things? Akeem Olajuwon was highly skilled. Mm-hmm. I'm not so sure that we've seen a big man that can dominate both ends of the court like he could. The man did a quadruple double. They took one quadruple double away, said it was faulty. He went back and got another one 2 days later. So that just shows you the skill level. Yes, Bird was skilled. Magic was highly skilled, yes. But as a whole, Stephen A., it would be hard-pressed for you to say, having covered the game as long as you have, to say that there are not more skilled players, guys that can shoot, dribble, and do multiple things today than they were 20, 30 years ago. It's just not true. Because the guys have gotten better. The guys have practiced more. The guys have coached better. Their nutrition is better. Guys work out harder. The training, yes. But for Ant-Man to say that Mike was the only skilled player, and when you had Isaiah, you had Bird, and you had Elijah, nah, bro, it was a lot of skilled players.
And by the way,
and the great players will always be great.
By the way, Mark Aguirre was skilled. Adrian Dantley was skilled.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's be very, very clear about it. Charles Barkley is one of the greatest forwards in the history of basketball. We can knock him for not winning
to ever lead in rebounding.
But that's right. I mean, Sean Kemp, that wasn't skilled. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, Gary Payton, that wasn't skilled. I mean, think about this. Listen, I go back to Mark Price, for crying out loud, out of Georgia Tech, that was playing in Cleveland all of those years. That brother wasn't skilled. Allen Houston wasn't skilled. Larry Johnson wasn't skilled. Ewing wasn't skilled. I mean, wait a minute now. I mean, there was a whole bunch of ballers. There was a whole bunch of cats that were playing that were very skilled. The skill level might have elevated now, but would you have known what to be, Ant-Man, if it were not for the pioneers that had paved the way, that had given you a visual of what you could be? That's where it emanates from, and that's what we got to remember.
I'll just remind everyone, he started with the quote saying that I never saw any of these guys play. So, I mean, it's kind of much ado about nothing when you think of it.
Well, just because you don't say, but see, that's why you shouldn't say that. Because you didn't see them play.
So that's what I'm saying. He kind of contradicted himself.
They actually work.
Exactly. Before he continued with the statement, if you saw the entirety of the quote.
Right. There you go.
Right. And the thing is, Stephen A. and Molly, is that when you look at it, maybe some of the rules, but the way the guys can shoot the basketball, Stephen A., you have been at the games earlier and you watch these guys. The 13th guy on the bench can just flat out shoot the ball. Those guys go 10, 15 shots and don't miss a shot. And they're shooting from 20, 22, 25 feet away. It's crazy the way they can shoot the basketball. Yes, the rule changes. Yes, Stephen A., they don't let you, the hand check below the line, the forearm. They used to let you put your forearm in some of the rules. But the guys, the way Luka and the way Jokic and the way these guys, their skill level is just off the chart. But, Ant, you can't say because you didn't see it, that doesn't mean they weren't skilled.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll leave it there, guys.
Falling in the forest, because you didn't hear it, it didn't make a sound.
Yeah. Coming up, Dan's take on the quarterback facing the highest expectations this season might make Stephen A. and Shannon's heads explode. Stay tuned for that heated debate.